This facility is in the heart of Boston. And if we don't advocate and fight for kids from this city to have the opportunity to compete in a facility, a world-class facility, such as the Reggie Lewis Center, we're really shortchanging our BPS students, our young kids across the city. I'm really disappointed that a city kid is unable to use the facility and that some wealthy kid from Weston or Duxbury has the opportunity to compete.
That is Council President Ed Flynn speaking out against an injustice at the local level.
The day we stop supporting kids from the city and not giving them the same opportunities as wealthy families throughout Greater Boston is really the day we should get out of politics if we're not defending city kids.
And it is a topic many are in agreement with.
This is like a really good example of what I talk about when I mention systemic racism. You put programs in place, then you have so-called community process, and then you come to some sort of agreement, and then systemically, money talks, and we see it here. Influence talks, those who are affluent and are properly integrated are the ones who move the needle. And in Roxbury, this is very, very real. It is true, it is a reality that this is a problem and it should not go on.
So what is the point of contention that council is bringing to the forefront?
So I'm filing this late file, thank you for allowing this to come to the floor, was a resolution to reclaim the Reggie Lewis track field. And what I mean by reclaim is take back what was promised to us as a city. Council
member Erin Murray is showing what good politics looks like at the local level.
The Reggie Lewis Track and Athletic Center is dedicated to Massachusetts public high schools' track and field meets and practices. The Reggie, which it is known, is located in Roxbury, right next to the O'Brien. So right in that area, and regarded as one of the premier athletic facilities in the northeastern United States. When the center opened in 1995, there was an understanding with the Boston Redevelopment Authority and the state that the Boston community would benefit first on use before surrounding suburbs could. As the years have passed, the ability for Boston Public Schools student athletes to have access to optimal practice times has eroded. Suburban school districts, what we've been told, have complained that their students are getting home late from practices and meets, so they've been able to claim all times from 3:30 p.m. on. Boston Public School student athletes are offered practice times from 2:30 to 3:30 only. And unfortunately, as many of you know, in the conversation we had earlier about our transportation and our school start times and end times, many of our schools, our high schools, dismiss too late for students to even get there in time before 3:30 when the suburban schools are using it. There is also, as we know, no access to practice buses to transport our student athletes there, even if they were able to arrive on time. Currently, because the O'Brien does get out at 1:45 and they can walk, they are one school who actually does use that slot. But at 3:30, they have to start cleaning up and get out of the way for the other school districts. And I am well aware that it is a state facility, but there was an agreement at the time when there was a land use change that they would make sure that our BPS schools have optimal times. One example, and it's written in Seth's article here, and there's pictures which they'd be funny if they weren't true, so it's pretty heartbreaking. But at Dorchester High, Tech Boston Academy, the indoor track team practices by running through hallways, up and down stairwells, and through doorways.
Seth Daniel, shout out to him. And this is why local journalism is so utterly important. He is a reporter with the Dorchester Reporter, and he brought us these photos of the practice conditions for Boston public school students. They are training in hallways, open doors, making tight turns around corners. To say this is a failing model for the youth is an understatement. So why did it come to this? Per Daniel, Dorchester's Tech Boston Academy indoor track team began rigorous practices, but the athletes won't set foot on a real track until their first winter meet. This despite the existence of a world-class indoor track facility in Roxbury known as the Reggie Lewis Center that's supposed to have practice periods set aside for BPS students, and yet they're not available at times that work for them.
As a graduate of Dorchester High, my daughter now is an athlete, and we have often used the gym at Dorchester High, and I have seen those kids run down the hallway. So it is really sad. And I also think that as I continue to navigate the political landscape, I also think that it's important for us to recognize and uplift issues of class and access. Someone really made a point to the fact that some people have and some people have not. And I think it's unfortunate that those who have not continue to have less, and those who have enough continue to take more.
Well put by council member Julia Mejia. To give an idea of the risk these students inherit, one student would even tell Daniel, with the Dorchester Reporter, it would be a lot safer for us to be at the Reggie Lewis because when you run up the stairs and hallways of the school, it's not like the school is empty. Why the predicament? BPS students, like those at Tech Boston, are being forced out of the center by 3:30 or 4 so that the suburban schools could hold their meets there. The thing is, Tech Boston classes are let out at 2:30. So what exactly are we doing here? To say that we are not meeting the needs of these kids, it's a shame. No kid, no athlete should have to hold open a door and train in school hallways when a promise was made, but simply a promise was not kept. One athlete would say, on occasions, we bump into other students while we're running and get hurt or hurt another student. That's already happened this year. The stairs are also not safe because you can trip and fall. One teammate this year fell on the stairs and injured his ankle. Daniel would add, in the meantime, team members and their coaches are making do until the formal competition by using their 99-year-old Codman Square School's hallways and stairs as their practice facility, sprinting at full speed down corridors, bursting through doorway separations, and sometimes running into custodians or other students. They just haven't held up their end of the bargain. Plain and simple. Boston.com would note Murphy's resolution was unanimously adopted by the city council, and there was support for a hearing so that school officials and others could elaborate on the sitch. When the center opened in '95, there was an understanding between the Boston Redevelopment Authority and the state government that Boston residents would benefit first on use before surrounding suburbs, Murphy would say. The center is state-owned. Here's to hoping that they find a resolution.